But let's just say that your overhead is $500. Now we're at profit. Now we've taken out our COGS, we've taken out our overhead, so now we're left with $2,425. Download your free reseller resource guide today. I constantly update and share with you discounts, favorites, tools, and resources to help you with your reselling business. After the video, click the link in the description and get your totally free guide today. Do you want to make reliable money and a decent income as a part-time reseller? Then this video is for you, because we're going to go over the reseller math that you need to kind of pay attention to know if this is going to work for you, if you're doing the right inputs to get the right outputs that you're hoping to get. So let's say you want to pay yourself $20,000 per year. Pay yourself, not just your sales, what you pay yourself, $20,000 per year as a part-time seller. Let's figure out your reselling business math today. So it's gonna be a lot of numbers. You gotta go with me, maybe take some notes. Let's go with it. So it starts with knowing your current numbers. There's things that you need to know and have in place so that you can make these projections to get yourself to the $20,000 mark. So these are some of the things you need to know. You need to know what you list, like your listing number, let's say every day or every month. You need to know how many items you sell every day or every month. And that's how you can figure out your sell-through rate, which I'll show you how to do. And then you need your average sales price. So this is important to figure out. You also need your ACOG, or your average cost of goods sold. And that's your average of your buy cost. On average, how much does it cost you to buy the items that you sell? And then you need to know what your overhead costs are going to be. So I have some estimates, and then you can go through and do this math to see, how you may vary from these estimates. So how many items are you listing? Again, we're going to make some assumptions, but this is the math to get you to 20,000. So I'm going to go over it, but then you can do it yourself on the side as well. So how many items are you listing? If you list 10 items per day, you're going to be at 300 items per month listed. Now, let's say that you have a 50% sell-through rate. That means that you list 300, you sell 150, half, 50%. So whatever you're selling, what percentage of that is what you've listed? And so if you sell 150 items per month, you're at a 50% sell-through rate. So for you, if your sell-through rate is different and you need to sell 150 items for this example to get to $20,000, but you don't have a 50% sell-through, then you need to list more items than what I said of 300. Okay, so this is where it varies from person to person, because I have a 50% sell-through rate. So this example works for me. If you don't have a 50% sell-through, you need to do the math for you. And the way to do it is to figure out how many do you list, how many do you sell, what percentage is that, and then you can apply it to what you're trying to do here. What is your ASP? So if you go into your Poshmark and you see what your earnings are, or you see what your sales price is on average, and divide it by how many items you've sold, that's your average sales price. So for me, it's 35. So that's the number I'm going to use here. If yours is not 35, you're going to need to list more items to have sell through, to multiply that by average sales price to get where we're going. So let me go ahead. You list 300 and you sell 50%, you're going to end up with selling 150 items. If you sell 150 items and they are at an average sales price of $35 each, you're going to end up with $5,250. So that's your sales, okay? And if yours is different, you need to identify those numbers and switch them. What are your earnings? So for me, because I do use Poshmark, and that's the 20% fee, and then I usually offer the $2, discount for shipping on pretty much most of my sales. I figured out on most sales, it's about 28% in fees. So I used a roundabout number of 30%, because someone might offer free shipping, someone might offer a deeper discount. Like, there's so many things. So I do, a deeper shipping discount. So I just use 30% as like general number. And so that would end, so 30% of 5,250 is $1,575 in fees. So $5,250 minus the $1,575 in fees puts me now earning money in my bank account, $3,675. So that's where we are. That's what I've earned, deposited into my bank account. Now, what's your average cost of goods? Mine is $5. If your average cost of goods is $3, then that's better. If it's 10, that's worse. So these are all things that are individual. I can never give you the magic bullet because there's so much that is individual to your business. But if you follow this math and you get the example, then you can plug in your own numbers and figure it out. So $3,675. What are my cost of goods? Don't forget to stop by the Rebecca the Reseller Academy, where you can find all of the products and all of the educational tools I have available for you, including all the free goodies. Here you can find coaching calls, Poshmark closet reviews, digital downloads, including my free reseller resource guide, as well as all of my courses and all of the bundles to save you lots of money. Hope you'll stop by soon at the Rebecca the Reseller Academy. So an average of $5 times I sold 150 items, that puts us at $750 of cost of goods sold. So we're at $3,675 minus $750. Now that leaves me with $2,925. Okay? What's my overhead? I'm going to estimate $500. Mine is way more than that. But for a part-time seller, I'm estimating, and this could be even high, I'm estimating high on $500. This would be your supplies, your equipment, your automation services, your cross-listing software, all the different things. And if you're somebody who's established, you probably already have your ring lights. So you're not buying those every month. So you may be somebody that your overhead costs every month is actually way less than this. I think I'm estimating pretty high here. But let's just say that your overhead is $500. Now we're at profit. Now we've taken out our COGS, we've taken out our overhead. So now we're left with $2,425. This is our profit, but it's not how much we pay ourselves because we need to save for taxes. So this is what I do, and this is not necessarily what you should do because everybody's tax situation is very different. So for the purposes of education and for the purposes of this example, I'm going to tell you a way that you can decide how much taxes you should save. But it's for this example only, because your individual tax situation is completely different from person to person, completely different from state to state. So you need to work with your CPA to make sure that you're withholding the right amount. This is an example. So 20% of earnings. So I told you were left with $2,425 of profit. We're not taking 20% of that because that's after your cost of goods and it's after your overhead. What you need to take is 20% potentially, as an example, of your earnings. So that number was $3,675. I'm going to take 20% of that, and that's $735. So you need to put that away. That's tax money. That just waits there until you pay your taxes. So now what's left? $1,690 that you can pay yourself. You can take it out from your business bank account, put it into your personal bank account, and that now becomes your paycheck for being a reseller in that month. $1,690. That's your salary. If you multiply that by 12 months, you get $20,280. So this is a very clear-cut, simplified example of how you can make $20,000 as a part-time reseller. But there are a lot of variables that you can change that can be different from person to person. So if you're not listing 10 items per day, all the numbers are going to change. If your sell-through rate is not 50%, all your numbers are going to change. If your average sales price is not $35, all of the numbers are going to change. If your overhead is not $500, the rest of the numbers are going to change. If your COGS are not $5, the numbers are going to change. So this is the example. If you write it all down and follow this math, you will be able to figure it out for yourself. You just have to plug in your very specific numbers. And if you don't know what they are, really need to figure them out, because there's no way, and I hear this in coaching calls all the time. People will say, well, I want to be full-time, or I want to make $20,000 or whatever, but they're not doing the things to get them there, or they don't even know what their numbers are to figure out how to figure out the numbers to get them there. And so that's what we do on our coaching calls. So if you have trouble with that, you can always set up a coaching call with me and we can figure it out. But this is, one of those things where reselling is fun. It's fashion, it's Poshmark, it's all that, cute girl boss stuff. But at the end of the day, if you want to make actual money, you do need to pay attention to some of these numbers, and I'm here to help walk you through it. I want you to know these things. It's so crucial. And, let me know in the comments below what questions you have and how I can help you more with things like this. Thanks, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.